Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Heaven, a necromantic dating sim. Let's go ahead and continue. You follow Lisa's friends inside, letting the warm, cozy scent of beer and smoke wash over you. Lisa slides onto a bar stool and the rest of the group joins her, taking up the seats closest to her. By the time you get to the counter, you're seated near the left end of the bar watching everyone else order drinks. You order a cup of wine and rest both of your elbows on the bar while the bartender pours the glasses. You spend a lot of time in bars, but none as fancy as this one. Back in Senkaku, bars were where people conducted business. You sip your wine and settle in, but once you glance at the rest of Lisa's friends, you realize that there's no way to join the heated conversation going on between your fellow students. One of the girls squeezes between you and the bar stool to your right to lean over the bar and get Lisa's attention. She doesn't seem to realize how close she is to you, or that her hair is dangerously close to your cup. You slip off your stool and sit down at a nearby table. You can still hear your classmates' conversation in perfect detail just a few feet behind you. You sip your wine and flip through your notebook, looking over your notes from the day. As you have listened to the conversation at the bar, however, you start to grate your teeth. It's all gossip and rumors about other students. Mostly, they're making fun of people. It's the kind of empty, shallow bullshit that people spit out when they're trying to one-up each other. You feel your goodwill toward this little trip rapidly starting to dry up. It's a nice change of scenery, but if this is what Idson students do at bars, you're better off in your room. To hell with this. As soon as I'm done with my cup, I'm getting out of here. You take a big gulp of wine, but nearly choke on it when Lee sits down across from you. Hey, take it easy, Mr. Gravedigger. Gotta pace ourselves. You swallow the wine and cough. I'm gonna head out soon anyway. What? We just got here. You can't leave me here with them. What are you talking about? These are your friends, aren't they? Lise glances over at the bar and makes a sly grin, then shakes her head. She takes a sip of her own drink and sets it down, then looks over at you. What kind of person are you anyway, Yuzo? What's your story? Look back at Lise, who's resting her hand on her chin, looking at you with her eyebrows raised. Well? You lean forward so that the people at the bar can't hear. They don't seem to have noticed Lisa's absence yet. I guess I don't have a high tolerance for pointless talking and bullshit. And I hate gossip, which you already know. Uh-oh, sounds like someone's been talking gossip and bullshit. Yeah, okay. I didn't come from a lot of money and I get the feeling a lot of people at Itsun look down on people like me. Why is that? Because I'm a nobody. Everyone else comes from prestige, famous family names. I don't have any of that. It hasn't been a problem so far. Well, wait. Where are you from? My family owns cattle. A lot of cattle, but still cattle. I'm the first one in the family to go to an academy. I didn't really want to, but hey, it's fun. If you don't take yourself so seriously, you can get these silver spoon kids to warm up to you. I don't want them to warm up to me. I don't like pompous, entitled jackasses. I don't like acting like one. For someone with an inferiority complex. You sure have a high opinion of yourself. You give a strange smile and shrug, and look into your cup, which is now empty. You look up at Lise, who wraps her fingers around your hand and turns it over. It's fun to play a game, make a little gossip, do a little flirting, win people over to your side. Lise traces the lines on your palm with her thumb. Even if you cut yourself off from the social scene, you're still in it. People will judge you, spread rumors about you. Why not strike first? Control how everyone sees you, instead of letting other people decide. Lise points at the long line that cuts across the center of your palm. You're a lonely, solitary person. You follow your own path, and no matter how hard it gets. She points at another, shorter line. You have a big chip on your shoulder. You have talent, but you want recognition too. Finally, she traces two parallel lines below your fingers. You've had a life marked by struggle and desperation. You don't trust people easily, and you're a pessimist and a cynic. She lets go of your hand, and you look at the lines on your palm. You picked up a bit of palmistry years ago. From what little you know, the lines Lise pointed to are all wrong. You nod slowly and flex your fingers. Let me see your hand. She stretches out her fingers, and you gingerly take her hand in your palm. Her touch is warm, and her fingers are long and lithe. Lise watches you intently, like a cat. Look down at the lines on her palm and point at random ones. You're talented and people are drawn to you, all without much effort. You like to cause trouble, but you're not cruel. You're the kind of person who surrounds himself with people, but doesn't have many close friends. You like to read people, but you don't like to reveal much about yourself. You look up at Lise. And you're a good liar. Lise sits there for a few seconds, smiling at you and saying nothing. Oh, Mr. Gravedigger, you're no fun. Oh, you're fun. You suppress a grin and pick up your cup before you remember that it's empty. You sip the last drops and set it back down. Why do you keep calling me that? You worked at a cemetery. Not as a gravedigger, I just keep track of the records. It's a fun nickname, isn't it? A little dark, a little intimidating. Lise leans forward and you keep your eyes from glancing down her shirt. We should have some fun with these people. She nods her head toward the people at the bar. You said you played cards. Are you good at poker? It's been a long time since you played poker. We still remember the rules pretty well. Decent enough. They're going to be so tipsy that they won't know if you're bluffing. Lee stands up and goes back to the bar. Almost instantly, everyone migrates to your table and pulls up chairs. Someone pulls out a deck of cards and starts dealing out hands. The guys become stone-faced and serious, while the girls giggle and keep asking about the rules. You're not playing for pocket change, just enough to buy some round of drinks. Lee sits next to one of the more affluent-seeming guys, and always bets the minimum amount, rarely challenging anyone. Eventually, everyone folds but you and the guy next to Lise. Apparently, his name is Tenza. You feel a strange sense of deja vu, then realize that you've seen this guy before. He's in your martial arts class. Tenza looks at you and raises. Lise catches her eyes with hers. She subtly nods her head, smiling all the while. You realize she has the perfect angle to see all the Tenza cards. I'll see you and raise you 10. Tenzo scoffs and drops a couple more coins on the table, then looks at you for a reaction. You smile faintly. The table has gone silent, waiting to see if you'll back down. You reach for a 20 piece and drop out your stack of coins, sighing heavily. Please call me Gravedigger. Wow, it looks like you're digging your own grave. The table goes ooh, and Tenzo stares at you hard, his jaw set. Call. Show me what you have. You toss your cards on the table and lean back, trying to seem confident. It's a pair of sixes. The guy's shoulders drop and he throws his cards down with disgust, revealing a 9 and a jack. Son of a... The table erupts in cheers, and Lise leans across the table to wrap an arm around your neck. She whispers something in your ear. You did it! Your eyes fly open as you stumble on one of the steps in the dark. You brace yourself against the wall as the haze of memories lifts. You look around and find yourself back in the grand staircase of Lazula. You collapse against the wall and sit on the stairs with your eyes closed, your chest bucking as the tears spill out. You kept these memories buried for such a long time, only touching parts of them. Let's go through them again. It's hard to remember what kind of person you were, what you did and said. It's even worse to know that's over. All you can do is escape for a little while. Inevitably, you'll be back here again in the ashes of your life. Alone. The only thing that keeps you going now is the promise that you can have it all back again. It's not over. You can still change what happened. Not in this reality, then another one. Swallow your tears and sit up, lifting your mask so you can wipe your face. It's not over. You emerge from the staircase after 6 hours of walking. The world that greets you at the top is nearly as dark as the underground. Wind whips across your clothes as you step out of the grand staircase. Your goggles are soon covered in dust. Through the dirty lenses, you can see the twilight contours of the land beyond. There used to be a sprawling, ramshackle shantytown surrounding the surface exit of the staircase. All of it has disappeared under dunes of shifting black ash. Distant masonry looms out of the ash, marking the old entrance to the settlement. You remember passing under the archway after you'd escaped from Itzan. Watch as clouds of ash slowly roll across the sky over your head, while 20-foot dust devils churn over the horizon. The only light illuminating the land ahead is the dusky red glow of the clouds, where embers still burn in the sky. This is what hell looks like. The first thing people did to combat the plague was from Itzan was all of the academy and trap everyone inside. When the disease still slipped outside the walls, they tried burning down school and all the students. Cleansing fire, you thought, would stop the plague. They didn't understand that the plague was hardy enough to survive the flames. The ashes of the dead carried the infection on the wind. Scholars outside the school didn't know anything about Ruth's research, but that the disease's foundation was her long-dead white Methuselah plant. They just kept locking up people and burning them, burning corpses, burning everything in wider and wider circles around Itzan. Soon the entire continent was engulfed in flames. People fled behind city walls to keep the infected out, while those just turned into necropolises. Even archipelagos and distant countries, which were separated by oceans, found ash falling from the skies. If the residents of this continent had resigned themselves to their fate and not lit a single pyre, maybe the world would have survived. But all that's in the past. You tread across the scorched dust lands, pointing yourself in the direction of Itsan. All these years later, the path there is still burned in your memory. Let's take a good look at the wasteland. It's all burnt to a crisp. There's no life in sight, no leaves, no greenery. It's just dust. Pretty good. Last time you came this way, you were fleeing for the underground along with 10,000 other people. It was chaos. Desperation brought out the worst in people, including you. You lied to some of the militia guarding Itsan, the ones who re-erected the blockades to keep the plague contained. Outside the school, you lied about your area studying to get a filter mask, and you lied about where you came from so that people wouldn't know you were an Itsan scholar. Lies upon lies. At the back of your mind, all you wanted to do was get away from everyone so that you could crawl into a dark little niche and sleep. After being surrounded by some insanity, you want to sleep forever. Now, I'm probably one of the last ones alive, besides that Necromancer. 5 years. Your footsteps stir up slow moving clouds of ash. The scorching wind slams into you again and again, trying to drive you south. 5 years ago, there would be trees, rivers, and towns between you and Itsan. Now there's nothing but rolling, blackened dunes. After another 2 hours of walking, you sit down and hang your head. You need sleep. You find the leeward side of an ash dune and lay down your sleeping bag. Crawl inside and seal it. Flashes of infected bodies fill your mind, the flickering of fire, then the blackness of sleep. You find yourself back in one of the halls of Itsan, cold light streaming through one of the nearby windows. You knock on Rue's door for your weekly tutoring session, something that's become a natural part of your school life by now. Oh, come in. You push open the door and find Rue sitting at her desk, staring at a lit candle.
Hello, Uzo. Are you doing well today?
Her eyes don't rise from the candle. A steel contraption, similar to a cooking spit, is holding what looks like a human eye over the flame. Yeah, I'm doing fine. What are you... What's that thing?
It's a little invention I made to help with my research. It lets me evenly heat things that need to be heated.
Can't tell but notice that the eyeball is almost completely withered and charred black. The smell coming from it is pungent. The smoke from the candle masks most of it. Why are you heating an eyeball?
I'm going to regenerate it. I need to damage it first though, and it's a nice controlled way of doing it. Eyes are mostly made up of water, which makes them nearly impossible to regenerate from trauma.
Is that an eyeball from a person? Where did you get that?
Oh, it's one of mine. Or at least, well, I grew it from a real eye.
Rue peers closely at the eye from different angles, making notes on a small pad with a stylus.
Okay, that should be enough.
She gently lifts the eye out of the spit contraption, the pair of forceps, and places it in a shallow dish filled with yellowish fluid.
Sorry about this. I wanted to take care of this before, so I could give you my full attention before tutoring.
No problem. I just had some questions about canon, the author we're reading right now. You begin laying out the material that you've been studying in class, and Rue gets a determined look on her face. She nods slowly as you walk her through your questions, and you can see your hand fiddling with her piece of chalk. When you're done talking, she sits there for a few seconds, staring at your notes upside down. It's as if she's stealing herself, mentally and physically.
Okay, let's start at the beginning.
After about half an hour sitting in the knitted sack, listening to Rue as she writes on the chalkboard, you feel the fog and confusion lift. Turns out that the ideas are relatively simple, but canon just has a convoluted way of explaining it all. It's been a running theme in the stuff you've been reading, elaborate prose that's really saying something easy. Rue, however, keeps steaming ahead, determined to explain everything to the smallest detail.
So that ties back into the concept of... what? Did I skip over something?
No, I think I get it. Artificial vessels can carry souls as long as the soul recognizes the vessel as a body. The body doesn't need a heart or a brain or stuff like that to be a body.
Yes, that's right. Are you sure you understand it all?
He pushed back the desk and closed her notebook. Yep, and it didn't take all night this time, which is nice. Rue's shoulders drop and she sighs in relief. She puts down her chalk nub and stands awkwardly near the board.
So we still have about half an hour left in our allotted meeting time, but you're free to leave if you like. Oh, but wait, it's been 2 full months. I need to give you...
Rue walks over to her desk and searches through the stacks of books and papers scattered across the surface. You realize that her desk has been getting progressively messier since her first meeting. More and more junk has been piling up.
Ah, here it is.
Rue pulls out a folded piece of paper and begins to read from it.
Are you feeling at home in your accommodations? Do you feel bouts of homesickness?
You smile as you realize what this is. A check-in list for mentors to gauge how their students are adapting to life at Itsan. No, I'm not homesick. The dormitories are nice. Nicer than my room back home.
Good, I will mark that down. On a scale from 1 to 10, how well... how prepared do you feel to take on the academic challenges at Itsan?
You laugh a little to yourself and reflect on how hopeless you used to feel walking to class. Well, thanks to you, I'd say 7, maybe 8. A couple of weeks ago, it'd be maybe 2. Rue smiles broadly and nods, and makes a note on the piece of paper.
How are you adjusting to the social life on campus? Do you feel that your classmates share your interests and goals?
Your amusement at the assessment fades. The truth is, you've been thinking about this for the past few weeks. Now that the initial shyness of your classmates had faded, you watched dozens of cliques crystallize like patches of ice. You've seen everyone around you slowly gravitate in their friend circles, but not you. Everything that your classmates have in common seems alien to you. Travel to foreign lands, favorite theater actors, exotic foods. Then you realize why. All of them grew up in rich, well-educated families. They'd all been walking the same path together. And now that they were here, they were acting like they already knew one another. It wasn't like you hadn't tried to talk to people. You tried. But the conversations always withered and died. Each time you felt like you had just had nothing in common. It was like you'd already failed before you'd started. So why bother? You look at Rue, who's waiting expectantly for you to say that's all going fine, that you're making friends. I guess we can lie. I've made a couple of friends. Not a lot, but, kindred spirits.
I'm glad to hear it. Even a few friends is a good start. If you don't mind me asking, what are their names?
Oh, Elise Bouveau from my anatomy class, and you hesitate. Izaki's definitely not my friend, but she probably won't figure that out. Izagi Ito from my martial arts class.
Ah, I've heard Initiate Ito's name before. She's quite a prodigy, I think.
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, that's good. I'll admit, I had a bit of trouble finding a friend circle when I first came to Itsan. I was more at home with my professors, which is strange because they intimidated me the most, at least at first. I ended up spending so much time in my mentor's office that he let me sleep on the floor.
Rue lets out a nervous laugh and raised a knuckle to her mouth to recover it. So you didn't get along with your classmates either?
I got along alright at first. I had a few friends from first year, but we sort of drifted apart. I think it was mostly my fault. I'm not very good at keeping in touch with people. It bothered me, but I got used to being alone after a while. Not that you should sequester yourself. Talking to people is part of a healthy lifestyle for young people.
You're shrugging to look out Rue's window. I'm okay being by myself most of the time. My master used to say you can be alone without being lonely.
Was your master, were you and your master a good fit?
Not really. Well, I don't know. He wasn't one to give out praise. I guess that made me work harder, but I got the feeling that I wasn't living up to his expectations until I got accepted there. Rue looks up toward the ceiling like she's thinking about something. When she speaks, slow and drawn out.
I think sometimes our mentors cultivate an image that's mainly for our benefit. Just like a stage performance. If they weren't larger than life, then we want to have something to aspire to.
Huh. I thought about that. So you think my master was putting up a front for my benefit?
I think so. My master certainly did.
What was your master like? Rue breaks into a brilliant smile as she seems to remember her master.
He was very grumpy and direct. He had no patience with me and my shyness. He wouldn't tolerate it. His eyes telling me to speak up or stand tall. I was terrified of him. He seemed to be upset at everyone and everything, but he liked me because I took studying very seriously. He actually introduced me to the poet Kakalo, whose poetry I love. I didn't expect Master Barras to read much poetry, but he showed me one that inspired my regeneration work. To build a staircase that never ends, to discover the contours of paradise, to count the infinite stars a second time. To understand the eternity that lies between here and death, one only needs a soul whose great mystery lies unsolved.
Kakalo. That name sounds familiar.
Here were colder winters. That's the poetry's collection that Master Barras gave me.
Wow, seems like he really liked you.
Once we knew each other better, I discovered he was really a gentle, wise man. The cantankerous personas for students. He started telling me, go out to the party, get drunk, kiss someone. He didn't like that I spent all my time studying. Everyone respected him. He was one of my favorite people.
You think about your old master. He always seemed sour and tired, but there were moments when his face would light up while lecturing you. You felt like you were glimpsing a different man. You didn't like him. But you always felt like he knew so much more than what he spoke about. I wish I'd known my master better. But at least you had a good relationship with yours.
Yes, he taught me a lot of things. My mentor. I can passes grumpy wisdom to my students.
You grin despite yourself. Rue's characteristic exuberance is a bit infectious. Like what?
Let me see. A good drink enriches the night. A good conversation enriches the soul.
Rue's smile fades a bit and she stares down at her desk.
I never got to use that one, actually.
You never went out to a party or anything like that? Ever?
I did it once. I went to the bar with some of my classmates to celebrate the end of exams. Everyone was very loud and getting progressively more drunk. I forced myself to stay for 2 hours. I really wanted to see what Master Barros was talking about. I tried to talk to people. It was like they got bored of me. I talked for a few seconds and then someone would interrupt. I was surrounded by all these people, but I still felt like I was alone. When I walked back to the dorms from the bar, it felt much better to be alone by choice.
Rue looks at you and takes a deep breath, then swallows.
But that's just me. I don't think you should give up on making friends, or having illuminating conversations with people. I suppose I'm saying all this to say, it's okay to feel out of place. It may take some time to find the right people for you. Perhaps there aren't people like that here, and that. Well, you can always speak to me if you have problems. Actually, hold on.
Rue reaches into her pocket, slips a key off a metal keyring, then hands it to you.
Here's the key to my office. If you want to come by outside our usual hours, I may be in my quarters doing research, so I may not hear you knock.
Oh, thanks. You smile at Rue and give her a curt nod. Despite her attempts at reassuring you, you feel a kind of certainty solidifying in your mind. I'm not going to fit in here. The best you can do is survive on the fringes and keep in touch with a little handful of people. Sure thing. Thanks, Rue. You decided to head to martial arts class early the next morning to practice, but neglecting exercising on your own. When you arrive at the dojo, you find it empty and quiet, with sunlight pouring through the windows. You start practicing your stance, then your movement and footing. It's still difficult, but you're better than you were a week ago. Being here alone reminds you of being in a library. There's the same high ceilings, the same sense of age and reverence. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, feeling a wave of calm wash over you. However, your exhale is interrupted by the sound of doors opening. You open your eyes to find Izagi standing there.
You're here early.
So are you.
I'm always here early.
With that, she walks to the other side of the room and starts stretching. You clench your teeth. You really want some time to practice before dealing with her in class. As soon as trading with Izagi starts, she always makes you feel like you're the child and she's the impatient parent. You're looking forward to practicing without her and getting ahead of the curve. Still, she's not your training partner before class starts. As long as you do your own thing and she does hers, it'll be fine. You move on to your first level kata, the chain of movements and poses that your class learned last week. After 15 minutes of that, you go over to a wooden dummy in the corner to start practicing basic strikes. The dummy is on a mannequin. It's more of a wooden column with adjustable wooden pegs sticking out of it. You can swivel the sections of the column to change the position of the pegs, simulating an opponent's hand positions. You wrap your hands in linen and strike the cushioned parts of the dummy that mark the chest, the face, and the neck. As you get into the rhythm, your eyes stray to Izagi, who is doing a more advanced kata set. She's wearing a fresh uniform with short sleeves, exposing dark bruises on her arms. You watch her black hair swing back and forth as her body pivots and twists, and you realize that she must struggle with it. You wonder why someone as practical and no nonsense as Zagi would keep her hair so long. 10 minutes pass and you focus on striking the dummy with straight punches over and over. Every time you hit, the dummy creaks a little as it absorbs the blow. Creak, 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 creak. You close your eyes and try to breathe freely as you punch. You feel like you're starting to get the hang of it.
You're not doing it right.
Your eyes fly open, and Izagi's standing next to you with a frown on her face. You didn't even hear her walk over.
Watch me. Power comes from the elbow, not the shoulder.
She guides you firmly to the side and starts striking the dummy.
See? The dummy creaks differently when you strike it correctly.
You exhale slowly, trying to contain the frustration welling up inside you. You know, I didn't ask for your help. Izagi stops and turns to face you.
I just can't stand here and you do it wrong. It's irritating.
I'm irritating you?
Yes. We're practicing striking blocks today, and I don't want to spend the whole time fixing your technique.
Are you going to be my training partner for the rest of the year? Izagi stops and stares at you in the midst of rolling up her sleeves.
I don't think so. Eventually you'll rotate to another senior student who will take you through the basics. Why?
You don't want to admit that Izagi's impatience and severity put you on edge, but you're having trouble coming up with a convincing lie. It just seems like you have a very particular style of teaching, different from the other senior students. Izagi finishes rolling up her sleeves and flexing her fingers, then stretches her arms and shoulders.
They go easy on junior students. They're afraid of being teachers. I'm not afraid.
But you're still learning too, right? You haven't mastered everything.
I know enough to teach you.
As she says that, 2 other students enter the dojo, realizing it's almost time for class to start. You turn your back on Izagi, start to stretch your arms against the wall. When the lesson begins, Master Izam shows the class 3 blocking positions, all of which seem strange and flimsy. It's time to train. Izagi walks over and cracks her knuckles. She motions for you to raise your arms.
Come on, let's get going.
You grudgingly raise your hands in the guard position, and Izagi throws a slow punch. You intercept her strike with your left hand, twisting your palm up and guiding your wrist away with your wrist.
Sloppy, don't overextend your arm.
You resent, she throws another punch. You propel your hand forward and press on the outside of her arm to drive the punch down.
You need to do that earlier. Here, let me do it.
You switch roles and start throwing slow, lazy punches at Izagi. She intercepts them perfectly, one after another. What's frustrating is that her shoulders and body are moving, not just her arms. It's hard to see the whole picture at once. You try to block again, but Izagi stops mid-punch, groans, and adjusts your shoulder posture.
Get your body lined up. Not doing it right.
You step away and push her hands off of you. Can you teach me how to do it instead of just saying, do it like me?
If you paid attention and I just listened to your body, you'd understand. It's intuitive.
I'm trying, but I can't be as good as you are right off the bat.
You're just making excuses. You could do this if you tried, but you don't have the discipline.
You clench your fist and gaze angrily at Izaki, your breath quickening. Your voice drops low. You don't know me.
Have you ever been in a real fight, even once in your life?
I have.
Prove it.
There's a moment of hesitation. You can't just fight Izagi in the middle class. Even if you did, she'd probably kick your ass. But if there's one thing you can't stand, it's someone who judges you without knowing you. You bend your legs as you raise her fist in front of you. Izagi takes up her stance. You feel your throat getting dry and your breathing getting shallower. You force yourself to take bigger, slower breaths. You step closer to Izagi. It's within range to strike her hands. You feel yourself dipping into a well of frustration. She's not afraid to teach other people because she doesn't care about them. She's arrogant. You feel your anger boil over and turn cold. Your mind clears and all you see is Izagi staring back at you with those piercing eyes. She doesn't know me. No one knows me. You step forward suddenly and roll your shoulder to throw a punch. In the back of your mind, you realize how clumsy your strike is. You're already preparing for Izagi to block and deliver a devastating counter-strike. You can see it all happening in your head. You don't care. No matter what she does, no matter how hard she beats you, you're going to show her that she's wrong about you. As her punch sails through the air, however, Izagi doesn't move. You look deep into her eyes and see something unexpected. Recognition. Your punch falls slack just as your knuckles touch her cheekbone, barely slapping Izagi's face. You just stand there, breathing slowly and looking at her. She looks back, still frozen in place. Slowly, she stands up from her stance and lowers her arms. Only then do you realize that the whole class has stopped to look at the two of you. You glance around, feeling the other students' eyes on you. You spot Tenza, the guy from the bar, watching you intently. I forget he was in this class too. But you realize that the only pair of eyes you care about is Izagi's. Sorry I punched you, but I couldn't stand you saying all that. Trying to do this right. Just takes me a while. Izagi licks her lips and looks away for a moment, then opens her mouth to speak. I was being impatient. I'm sorry. You nod slowly, feeling the echoes of your anger subside. You realize that for someone like Izagi to admit she's at fault, it must be a big deal. Master Izam strides over and stands beside you and Izagi. What's going on over here? What happened? You look over at Izagi, whose body stiffens. Her eyes screw shut in shame, and you can tell that she's waiting for the fallout. Nothing happened. Izagi was trying to show me how to block, and I almost hit her full force. It was my fault. I was standing too close. Izagi's eyes open and lock into yours. You look back at her, trying to act casual. Master Izam looks at you, then at the other students. Be careful with your exercises. We train a technique first, not power. Either way, it's time to switch. Junior students, work on your kata. Senior students, open sparring. You and Izagi split off and continue training. You notice Izagi sneaking glances at you. By the time class is over, your forearms ache and you sweat through your uniform shirt. When you leave the changing room after class and step out onto the campus grounds, you're thankful for the chilly breeze. All you want to do now is head back to the dormitory and collapse on your bed for an hour. You spot Tenza and another student walking by. He meets her gaze and slows slightly. When he speaks, it's in a low voice. Follow through next time. You realize he's talking about your punch to Izagi's face and grimace. Fuck off. You start walking back toward your room. You stop when you hear another pair of footsteps behind you. You turn around and see Izagi. For once, she's not in a martial arts uniform. Her eyes are fixed on your chest, and her posture is stiff. She has both hands in her pockets.
Hey,
Hey,
if you want someone else to train for you for class, I can ask Master Izan to switch us. You don't have to wait.
you wait for her fierce gaze to meet yours, but it doesn't. You sigh, feeling the exhaustion in your bones. I can't keep up with you. I know that. If you feel like I'm holding you back, maybe it'd be best if... Izagi nods slowly. She looks off to her left, across the campus.
When you threw that punch at me, I got the feeling you...
Wait for her to finish her thoughts, but she trails off. You turn your head to look in the same direction that she is and slip her hands into her pockets. I don't like people telling me I'm worthless, or screw up, and for too long. People told me that stuff for so long that I started to believe it. I started to think that I wouldn't amount to anything. Izagi turns back to face you. Her mouth is open a little, as if she's going to say something. That's your turn to stare back at her, meeting her eyes without hesitation. Her eyes are locked with yours. It seems like your staring is distracting her.
I don't think you're worthless. What happened? It had nothing to do with you. It was me.
She drops her gaze again, turns and starts to walk away quickly. You watch her take a few steps, unsure what to say. Hey, Izagi. She stops and twists her head around to look at you. You try to think of something you can ask her. Let's see. If you're gonna punch me, how would you do it? When I threw that punch at you, I could feel that was wrong. Sloppy. If you were gonna punch me in the face, how would you do it? She gives a small, confused smile and turns back, looking ahead. She pauses for a few seconds, then turns around and walks up to you. She squares her shoulders and holds up her hand in guard position. You do the same. She takes a long step forward, positioning her front leg between yours. Hands push forward, pressing her lead arm down. Then her back hand smoothly slides forward, crossing over her other arm and coming to rest against her jaw. Palm strike. Her fingers curl down, brushing her face before she lifts her palm away. You look into her eyes and nod. That hurt. Izagi smiles slightly and steps away. She smooths down her coat and brushes her hair away from her face. You smile back at her, close your eyes and run your hands down your face, groaning. Don't tell the instructor the switches yet. Maybe I can learn some more.
Alright.
God, I'm tired. See you tomorrow, Izagi. Her smile widens a bit, showing a glimpse of her teeth. Ah, she's smiling, with eyes closed. How cute. She nods to you.
See you.
Anatomy class that day was just as overwhelming and difficult as always. Despite all Rue's help, the human body always seems to have infinitely more complicated little facets to it they're expected to memorize. You try your best to take notes, but you can tell that you're missing large chunks. When it's finally over, you moan quietly and pack up your books. Before you can leave the classroom, however, you feel a gentle tap on your shoulder. Alright everyone, I'm gonna stop here for today, but if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment on what you think so far, tell me who your favorite girl is, and if you want to purchase this, I will provide links down below. Anyways, thank you, and take care.